Suicide Squad number 17, written by Adam Glass, art by Henrik Johnson. So last issue we left off with the team getting a briefing that they're going to attack Red Orchid, aka the sister of Yo-Yo. So we pick up and the attack has already begun. We got Harley, Deadshot, Yo-Yo, King Shark, and Voltaic, the last of whom is pretty much just a shell, like there's nothing going on inside. And we see Yo-Yo being like extremely friendly to the team, like, hey guys, wow, Deadshot sure is grumpy today. And you know, it's a whole thing of samurais and whatever attacking them all with katanas, and the team's just trying to fight them all off. And Deadshot's trying to ask, like, what package could Waller possibly want from Red Orchid? And Yo-Yo's like, oh, well, it must be something pretty bad to be here in her garden. So Yo-Yo makes the offhand comment to Deadshot of like, hey, I heard you shot Regulus. Shot him dead. I really wish I could have been there to see that. So at that point, Yo-Yo keeps on just like bringing up like, actually, these guys aren't samurai. They're part of Chinese Shaolin tradition. And Deadshot's like, I don't care, Yo-Yo. Can we please just fight these guys and get through them? And he gets a katana to the shoulder, uses it to get close to the guy, blows out through his heads. And then Harley's like, okay, I'm getting kind of bored here. Can we stop dealing with the Shaolin monks and get to the final boss already? And Yo-Yo's like, how about we take this party upstairs? My sister's probably on the penthouse. And Harley's like, I'm just going to quote her here. Keep it up and I might let you suck my toes. To which Yo-Yo replies, the foot fetish thing is that obvious, huh? King Shark responds, you two creep me out, which that's fair. I agree with that. So at that point, they start looking up towards the penthouse, and Yo-Yo then gives his backstory of his sister and him. And it turns out, some time ago in Metropolis, they're on a campus for the university, and Yo-Yo is asking for money from his sister because he fell in bad with some bad guys, and the sister's unwilling to go down to his level, and he manages to follow her into a secure lab because he stole his roommate's badge, name pad, whatever you want to call it. And as they make their way in there, they see that there's a geothermal reactor that is powering all of Metropolis, and that's the project that the sister was working on, but Yo-Yo's taken aback by the whole thing. And she's like, oh yeah, I forgot you're kind of smart. And he's like, oh, I've always been smart. And then she smacks him and says, then why do you have to become a criminal like Dad? And he only did that so he could put food on our table. But then all of a sudden, the lab starts rumbling, and it turns out that this is happening at the exact same time where Metropolis was taken and put into a bottle in Action Comics. So at that point, the geothermal reactor, which apparently has some special elements inside of it, cracks open, and they both get powers. So that's that. Meanwhile, as they're getting up to the penthouse, they're going up the stairs trying to get through all the Shaolin warriors, and then Harley points out, hey, there's an elevator. Let's get in that. So they take the elevator up, which is apparently playing some elevator music of Nirvana, which nobody takes kindly to. And then as the doors open up, they just find more warriors in front of them. So they shut the doors again, but this time the warriors cut the elevator cables. It starts falling. Yo-Yo jumps out of the elevator and manages to grab it. And he's just like, oh, wow, you'd be surprised what new powers you can find out while you're being digested. Isn't that right, King Shark? Ahaha. Anyway, penthouse we go. So they make their way up there, and they make some weird joke about kissing King Shark. But then three young girl warriors a la Kill Bill show up. Literally, one of them has the same weapon as her from Kill Bill. And Harley's like, oh, I can fight these. They seem easy. And as she jumps in, she's immediately knocked back by one of them. And Harley takes her out by just jabbing a pen into her knee and seemingly debilitating her. One of the other ones is attacking Deadshot, and she's like, oh, you're too slow to get past me. And he's like, I wasn't trying to get past you, I'm the distraction. And then King Shark comes up from behind her and eats her. And then one of them is attacking Voltaic, and Yo-Yo's like, watch out, Voltaic, as he's stabbed through the chest with a sword, but then he just shocks her full speed and pulls the sword out with no problem. And Yo-Yo's like, are you okay, man? You just got stabbed in the heart, and you're just shaking it off. And he doesn't say a word. So at that point, Harley's like, hey, I've played enough video games to know that when we beat them, the final boss is right around the corner. Let's see who it is. And then all of a sudden in her head, she gets an internal monologue from Harleen, who I guess is just there as a separate entity now. And Deadshot's like, hey, shake that off. Whatever's going on, we got to deal with this. And then all of a sudden a man is thrown out from the room next door. And it's just like, I assume he is why you came here. And as Harley and Deadshot go to grab the package, Harley gets shot down by some spikes that start poisoning her. And Red Orchid comes out and is just like, welcome home, little brother. And then Deadshot also gets poisoned by some weird gas thing. And Yo-Yo defends King Shark and Voltaic, just like, why is this man so important to you, sister? And he's like, I should ask the same thing of you. But then, as it turns out, the one pulling the strings behind Red Orchid is Regulus. He's back, and he wasn't killed. And Yo-Yo's like, you're supposed to be dead, Regulus. And Regulus is like, same to you, Yo-Yo. That's the issue. Okay, so I don't, in the grand scheme of things, have a problem with anything going on here, except Regulus being alive. I never quite got the appeal of Regulus as a villain. He doesn't quite strike me as interesting, so that part is a little bit of an issue, but, you know, it's an end-of-issue cliffhanger. He might not actually be alive, and if he is, there might be a good reason. I'm not opposed to that. The story as a whole is okay. What's getting me here are these little inner moment details, because some of them I do find genuinely fun, but then some of them I'm like, no, you're crossing a line. For instance, the whole thing with Voltaic just pulling the sword out and Yo-Yo being like, dude, are you cool? I like that. It's a funny little beat, because Voltaic is just completely dead inside. But then there's the weird, like, sucking toes thing. That crosses, I don't know why. In my mind, that just crosses the line of like, no, okay, now we're weird. Now we're in weird. But then King Shark immediately saying like, you two are weird. That's back on the other side for me. It's playing it up. So I don't know. This danced across that line of like funny and just uncomfortable. And I don't know if that's intentional, but it's a weird mixture for me. And I don't know how I feel about it in the end. So overall, I'm going to give this one, I'm okay with the Yo-Yo backstory as well. And that did make up about 4 pages. So I'm going to round it up to what I would say is a 7. It's barely a 7. It's more 6.5 than I'm willing to, but I'm willing to say, okay, maybe if your humor is more in line with that, it would bump it up to a 7. I feel like I might just be the odd man out for that. So yeah, for like the 8th time now, that's a 7. And we'll see what more continues on with Red Orchid and or Regulus and or Yo-Yo and or Voltaic next issue.